listed on the agenda. We had enjoyed the reception and the awards ceremony for volunteer firefighters from across the municipality of the County of Brant earlier this evening, and it was well received, and we appreciate the opportunity to thank them and for their services, which are ongoing as we are, and several of us have had the opportunity to have their service. We'll put it that way. Thank you very much. I was invited to attend this evening honor the City of Brantford's 2017 Wall of Recognition honorees. Unfortunately, it's happening right now in the City of Brantford. And the modern day candidate, so it says, is Vince Bucci, who we know, and the historical candidate is former Mayor Howard E. Winter. And Howard, some of you may remember that, had relatives here in Paris. He had a brother who had several members as daughters, etc., in the town of Paris. We received an email yesterday morning at 10:30 from the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, Elizabeth Dowdeswell, to the Lieutenant Governor's Visionaries Prize Environmental Stewardship. And it begins at 6:30 this evening, so we have a short council session. Well, it's in Waterloo, so I guess I can't take it. But I don't understand the late notice, and I couldn't pass it on to any member of council because we're having council. And I would also reiterate our heartfelt sympathies for citizens of the world who are undergoing tremendous tragedies such as earthquakes and the many adverse weather storms that are continuing. We have a so-called heat wave, and it's annoying, but it's certainly not causing the problems and the deaths that these other worldwide problems are. So our sympathy for sure. With that, we will note attendance has taken. We have a full council. Thank you. Approval of the agenda, and you will notice that the addendum, there is an addendum that's been circulated to the session. Does any member of council have an item that they wish to add to the agenda for this evening? Councillor Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two items, if I may.
Two items
Yes.
under heading?
Other business. One is for the John Noble Home, and the other one is for the ambassador for the Paris Fair.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Anyone else? With that, can we have an agenda? I believe a motion, rather. Councillor Carty moves, Councillor Simon seconds. The agenda be approved for our use. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. With that, declaration of pecuniary interest by any member of council. Councillor Miller.
8D.
8E.
D.
B. What is it?
D.
D, thank you. A, B, C, D, E also. Thank you. Anyone else? Noted. Delegations, etc. And the first is Olga Consorti, Leslie Lehman, Tom Smiley of St. Joseph's Life Care Foundation, funding required for the Stedman Community Hospice. Would the delegation please approach the mic, those that are speaking, and welcome, and please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor Eddy, County Councilors, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Tom Smiley, and I'm the chair of the St. Joseph's Life Care Foundation Board. And on behalf of the foundation, I want to thank you for providing us with this opportunity to present to you this evening. Though our catchment area includes Brant, Brantford, Haldimand, Norfolk, Six Nations, and New Credit, There's often a misconception that Stedman Community Hospice is a City of Brantford facility. It's very important to the work of our board that we dispel that misconception. Our county support and connections are integral to our success as an organization, and we couldn't be more thankful for them. And we're pleased to report that a third of our board members are actually from the county: Ed Glassbergen, Dr. Steve Somerton, Jeff Lucier, and yours truly. I live over on German School Road. Our past board chair, Harry Norton, also hails from the county. Half of our foundation staff are proud Brant County residents. So we're tremendously grateful to the hard work undertaken by our foundation board and our foundation staff. And on behalf of the board, I'd like to introduce somebody who probably needs no introduction, our president and CEO, Olga Consorti, so that she may speak to you further about the work of the foundation in general and Stedman Community Hospice in particular. Olga?
And thank you very much, Tom, for your leadership and everything that you do. You bring such passion to our board, and we're very grateful for that. Good evening, everyone. Mayor Eddy, county councilors. I'm delighted to be with you today to chat a little bit about the role of Stedman Community Hospice and the pride that we have in terms of the work that we've done and the families that we've impacted over the years. So since 1999, the County of Brant has generously partnered with many organizations, including our St. Joseph's Life Care Center, which is home to 205 long-term care residents. Tonight, I want to highlight with you some of the hospice programs that we have, some information regarding our patients, our supporters, and why we would be very honored to partner with you. We all know that dying is a very important part of living. It's not if, but when we'll die. When faced with our own mortality, many questions will arise. Will I die in pain? Will I die alone? Will my family be okay? And finally, who will help us? The answer is quite simple: we will. Stedman Community Hospice provides programs and services from the very moment of diagnosis of a life-limiting illness to assist not only the patient, but the family as well. At the hospice, we are committed to determining what's important and meaningful to each individual patient when they know that no heroic intervention is going to save their life. I'm sure that many of you here have either had a hospice experience or have heard about the compassionate care we offer through your friends and family. As such, you probably know a lot about our beautiful facility, and I'm going to touch a little bit more about that later. But I also wanted to underscore the importance that hospice is so much more than just a beautiful building. Hospice is truly a concept of care that's a collection of programs and services that focus on the comfort and support of the patient and their family when there is no longer a cure for their disease. In fact, we even provide hospice care right at the bedside of our patients' homes. Here's a bit of an overview of some of the extensive programs and services we are proud to offer. So our residential hospice is the actual 10-bed facility that provides compassionate care around the clock, and that is for anyone that's diagnosed with 3 months left to live or less. We are very blessed to enhance the care that we were able to provide by a professional team through the support of our wonderful volunteers. We could not operate the hospice without the volunteers. And what that means for our patients and families is that we have homemade meals to satisfy any craving. If a patient wants a chocolate sundae for breakfast, they get a chocolate sundae for breakfast. We have comforting visits, and our volunteers also provide an opportunity to hold hands at the bedside and provide lots of extra love and support. The annual cost to operate the residential portion and the entire hospice is $3 million. So another program we're excited to tell you about is our community outreach team, and that is essentially a group of allied professionals who go right into the patient homes to manage pain and symptom at the bedside. We are very proud to be the first hospice in Ontario to offer this level of care in the homes. The team includes a palliative care physician and a registered nurse to look after the pain and symptom management issues that arise, as well as a supportive care coordinator to look after the emotional and spiritual needs. Since we began the community outreach program, we have had more than 350,000 home visits and consultations. And that also results in thousands of emergency room diversions because we're able to care for them in their home, and better access to care and millions of dollars of savings within our healthcare system. Another program that we offer is a day wellness program, and essentially that's for anyone diagnosed with a life-limiting illness that has a chance to come and participate in all sorts of therapeutic programs at the hospice and really meet people that are going through the same experience that they are as well. It's a bit of fun and reduces stress at the same time. Another key component of that program is that it offers support to caregivers and gives them respite when they're looking after their loved ones 24 hours a day in their homes. In fact, research shows that those who participate in a day wellness program live on average 3 months longer than those who don't. So we're very proud to be able to offer this program to our residents. Next, we have our horticulture therapy program, which is the first of its kind and the only of its kind across Canada. We really use a connectedness with nature to improve not only the mental, physical, and emotional well-being of the patients and their families. We run more than 100 horticulture therapy programs a year, and it's a beautiful way to enhance the love and support that we're able to offer our families that benefit from the beautiful gardens by wheeling their loved one out under our covered porch to enjoy a sunny day. Next, we have grief and bereavement support, and this program offers a compassionate tools for coping mechanisms for patients for the moment of diagnosis. I think people mistakenly think that grief and bereavement is only for loved ones after their family member has died, and we have learned that grief starts from the moment of diagnosis when a person can no longer do daily acts of living. When they can no longer work, grief sets in, and it's intensified when they can no longer drive, they can no longer sit, and their illness takes over. So we're very proud to offer this completely free of charge, and we even provide support to anyone in the community that needs some help after their loved one has died, even if they didn't die at the hospice. As well, education is really important in everything that we do, and we're proud to provide community support and space for expanded scope of programs and services, everything from mindfulness practice to suicide support services. So some fast facts I just wanted to go over with you. My role as CEO of the foundation is to raise funds in order to support Stedman Community Hospice as the official fundraising organization for that. So our goal is to ensure that no patient ever gets a bill for any of the services that they use at the hospice. In order to make that a reality, the hospice operating budget is $3 million. And the government funds a portion of the nursing portfolio. Everything else, we're proud to say, is funded by our caring community. So that means that we rely on our donors for everything from the building of the hospice, which is a $7 million campaign, to all of the operating costs, programs, everything from heat, hydro, bowl of soup, everything is funded by the community, and we just couldn't be more proud of them for that. You may be surprised to learn that there are only 25 residential hospices across Ontario, and several of them are disease-specific, which means that they only take cancer patients. There's one that only takes AIDS patients, and most do not provide care for children. We are inclusive, regardless of the type of illness, regardless of the economic status, regardless of age or religion. We have cared for children as young as 2 weeks and as patients as old as 101. By 2020, there'll be 40% more deaths per year than in 2003. The need for end-of-life care is growing dramatically. By 2034, the number of seniors in Ontario is expected to double. Given our aging population, the need for end-of-life care services is becoming critical. I wanted to share with you a few touching stories of some county residents to show you the impact that we've had at the hospice, and we're so grateful for these families to want to share our their hospice experience with you as a form of their gratitude. So this first little boy, Evan, of course, needs no introduction, I'm sure. Sadly, Evan was diagnosed with a cancerous brain tumor. And St. George's 6-year-old lovely boy completely changed the world by helping him to celebrate Christmas in October when we knew that he was diagnosed and would not last until Christmas in 2015. Thanks to the hard work of the county and the residents and the staff, his wish came true, and of course many of you were instrumental in providing a beautiful parade, which I know you're honoring with him again this year. While we had the privilege of caring for Evan through our community outreach program and then in our residential hospice, Nicole said that she can go back to be a mom again, and she was so thankful to be able to celebrate Christmas in October before Evan died in December 6th of 2015. Next, we have our beautiful Charlotte Stewart of St. George. She was diagnosed at birth with a degenerative neurological disorder. We were privileged to have Charlotte's family with us over the course of the summer as they literally moved in to be by Charlotte's side 24 hours a day. On September 12th, we were honored to facilitate a fifth birthday party for Charlotte. Sadly, she died 2 days later on September 14th. Her family was so grateful to the hospice and to everyone who funds it to make Charlotte's care possible. Cindy Miller of Paris was diagnosed with a brain tumor in November of 2016. She joined our hospice family through our community outreach program in January of 2017. As a teacher, it was really important for Cindy to fulfill her dying wish of seeing her daughter graduate grade 8. We were so proud of our volunteers on our hospice team who were able to facilitate that in about 2 days' notice with sweets and balloons and decorating the hospice with the girls' school colors in order to actually bring this project to life and facilitate the graduation ceremony at the hospice. It's a moment that has really changed Anika's life, and it has made her one of our greatest ambassadors. So now I have mixed emotions about the next person I'd like to call to the podium to share their story. Thank you for being so gracious with me, knowing that I have taken one of Brant County's greatest treasures to be with us at the foundation office. Leslie has been with us now for 6 months, and we are just so delighted with the work that she has done for us and through us. And I was very reassured from Paul when we met to hug it out, that he said, you know, the hospice still helps the county, and so technically Leslie still works for the county. So I thought that was lovely, and here's Leslie to share her very special story with you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga. That was very nice. Good evening, Mayor Eddy, councilors, and member of staff. I'm really happy to see each of you. Thank you for giving Tom, Olga, and I the opportunity to share with you the work of the Stedman Community Hospice. In the summer of 2014, my mom, Shelley, was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancerous brain tumor. She was given less than 2 years to live with aggressive chemotherapy and radiation treatments. My mom was 55 years old when she was diagnosed. A wife, a mother, granddaughter, sister, aunt, and a friend to hundreds of family members and friends. She was my very best friend, and her diagnosis changed our family's lives dramatically. After a year of doing our best to take care of my mom at home, our family joined the hospice family when our doctor had my mom placed in the outreach program offered through Stedman Community Hospice. We were provided with bedside care for my mom, along with the support of an on-call 24-hour nursing program. Though our time with the outreach program was limited, it was instrumental in helping my dad and I make the appropriate decisions for my mom, both in terms of her physical care as well as her emotional care. In the same way that my mom's life was not defined by her illness, neither was her death. We joined the residential program at the hospice on July 8, 2015, and my mom immediately became, in dying, much as she was in living, an inspiration to those around her. When my youngest brother Matt was getting married in August of 2015, the entire hospice team of volunteers and staff banded together to ensure that my mom didn't miss her youngest son's wedding. They facilitated a beautiful ceremony for us on site. Later that month, the hospice team of staff and volunteers again made certain that my mom enjoyed the same meal, decorations, music, and speeches as the rest of us did at my brother's wedding, thanks to each room at the hospice being equipped with the very best in technology. Donor dollars pay for this. My family will forever be indebted to Stedman Community Hospice for the excellence in care they provided to not only my mom, but to my entire family. My mom was a woman of tremendous strength, compassion, and dignity. She believed in helping your neighbor, and that you were fortunate enough to be able, it was your responsibility as a human being to help those in need. As Olga said, dying is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And eventually, each of us will leave this earth. Each of us deserves the very best death possible. Stedman Community Hospice provides for a good death, and I am thankful for the opportunity to request the county's support in ensuring that we can continue to do so. Finally, on an even more personal note, if I could get much more personal than I just did, I would like to thank County Brant Council and staff for all that they did in supporting me through my mom's illness, her death, and my subsequent decision to leave the county to pursue a career with St. Joseph's Life Care Foundation. I have wholeheartedly dedicated my life to helping ensure that the services provided by the hospice will always be available at no charge to everyone who needs them. Thank you.
Thank you again, Leslie. So as you could see, your residents are our patients. From all the corners of the county, we are here for everyone. Stedman Community Hospice has cared for thousands of your relatives, friends, neighbors, and voters. Your residents are also our supporters. Each year we host the annual Hike for Hospice, and that's a fundraising event that's held all across Canada. You may be surprised to know that 50% of our hikers hail from outside of Brantford, demonstrating the incredible reach and impact that our hospice has. Last year alone, more than 35% of the funds we received through third-party hospice fundraising events, so when other people endeavor to raise money on our behalf, 35% of those funds were also raised by Brant County residents. There are more than 20,000 volunteer hours needed each year to keep Stedman Community Hospice running, and thousands of those hours are fulfilled by county hands, backs, and hearts. As Tom mentioned, a third of our foundation board and half of our foundation staff are also proud Brant County residents. So I know many of you have not had an opportunity yet to visit the hospice, so I thought I'd bring a couple of slides just to showcase the beauty of our facility, and I would be delighted to personally tour anyone that's interested to come for a visit. So as you can see, the beautiful, tranquil facility offers a home away from home environment, complete with all the amenities that you would have in your own home, and we feel very privileged to provide the care that we do there. We are very proud of our partnerships, and we have many in the community. We are now beginning filming on our second season of Redefining Hope for Hospice in our partnership with Rogers Television, and we're excited to be able to bring our programs to life and have members from the community share their hospice experiences with others. We also have a tremendously strong social media presence and have more than 4,000 Facebook followers, and if you haven't liked us or followed us yet on Facebook, please do. So we have a great social media presence. We are excited about the prospect of receiving funding from the County of Brant and would be honored to recognize you in our lovely donor recognition wall, our wall of gratitude that greets people right when they walk through our hospice doors, because we are so grateful to the community that has brought this special project to life. In addition to presenting to the County of Brant, we have also presented to the City of Brantford, and we are currently in the middle of their $2.4 million commitment to the hospice. We are also undertaking presentations in Haldeman, Norfolk, Six Nations, and New Credit, and have recently opened up a satellite office in Port Dover in order to expand our outreach program services to areas residents as well. Though our catchment area includes Brantford, Brant County, Haldeman, Norfolk, Six Nations, and New Credit, as Tom mentioned, there's often a misconception that Stedman Community Hospice is a City of Brantford facility. We trust that our presentation this evening has helped to demonstrate just what a community treasure the hospice is for the County of Brant and the support that your voters continue to extend our way. We are hopeful that you will give the same type of support and consideration to us as well. As noted in our delegation request form, we respectfully request that you consider a pledge to Stedman Community Hospice during your budget deliberations. Thank you very much for your time this evening, and I really appreciate all the support that many of you personally give to us as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Olga, for your heartfelt presentation. They're so informative, and you say you're privileged to provide the care. Citizens are privileged that you do supply the care.
Thank you.
It's so utterly important in our society. Are there any questions by members of council of the delegation or comment in this case? Councillor Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, Olga, just a quick question. When the hospice opened, it was 10 beds?
The initial hospital opened in 2004, and it was actually 6 beds. Since then, our demand was so strong that we couldn't continue to operate the level of programs from there, and we recently opened in 2014 Stedman Community Hospice, Hankinson House, which is now 10 beds.
Okay, and has the hospice got funding for all 10 beds, or is it still at 6 or 5? I don't even know, is that?
Sure, yeah, the hospice has government funding for a portion of the nursing salary for the 10 beds, but no capital funding, just for operating.
Okay, so they do have funding for the 10 beds then?
Just a portion of provincial funding goes for a portion of nursing, so the community funds for all the other programs and services and operating the building as well.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Wheat? Pardon?
But Councillor Campbell was having it, but that's okay. It is not possible for me to say enough good things about this organization. If you go back to one of the early slides, it isn't just about Hankinson House instead. It's the outreach program. And I experienced it firsthand this summer.
Correct.
I cannot say. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Catward?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we certainly know the good work that is done at Hankinson's house, and I was very pleased to attend the grand opening there.
Yes.
But my question is, Olga, what type of, or what amount of funding are you looking for? Do you have an idea of a number?
With all due respect to council and the budget process, I feel that I'm not comfortable to give, I mean, we need $3 million a year, so if you're up for that, great. But with all due respect, I would appreciate your indulgence. You know your budget numbers better than I do, and I feel that the staff and the councillors will be able to make a better decision. So I'm not really comfortable putting a number out there right now, to be honest.
Good answer, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone, any other member of council? Councillor Bauma, please.
Thank you. I apologize. I find myself strangely speechless. And again, I don't have the words to say my appreciation for the work that you do in the community.
That's right.
If I could just get through one question. Because I'm still relatively new here, has the County of Brant committed anything to the hospice before?
We did, we were a delegation a number of years ago, and unfortunately at that time, the county wasn't able to include us in the budget. So to date, we haven't received any funding, but I'm hoping after today, I hope that can change. Thank you.
Anyone else? We really do appreciate the service and realize the importance of this service in the County of Brant to our citizens and all of the other citizens. So you have our heartfelt thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes. Let's see. The next delegation is Jim Brown regarding staging of development strategy. And as you know, there's a a recommendation there later. Please proceed when you're ready.
Wow, what a powerful presentation and a hard act to follow. What a great cause. Actually, I want a minute. I would like to thank my name is Jim Brown, and I'm here regarding 200 King Street in Burford, which is Creekside Village. I would like to thank the mayor, councilors, and staff for this opportunity to speak. We met over 2 years ago with our presentation about Creekside Village. Council voted 10-0 in support of our request to engage in a management responsibility agreement. Now, most reports and studies are completed for the final submission to Brant County. Since then, we have attended many county and community meetings. On September 5th, I was not able to attend the PAC meeting, and I received numerous phone calls from residents who advised that Creekside Village was discussed, and it did not appear that the county was going to permit Creekside Village to proceed. I did not believe this, as overall the county has been very supportive of what we're doing. I have attended 3 provincial growth planning meetings where the provincial presenters stated that the province is attempting to be inclusive of the municipalities, provide guidelines for the future of municipal development, and permit municipalities ample time for input to complete comprehensive reviews that will provide for a phased-in period between the conclusion of the next official plan and 2031. Again, friends felt that Brant was shutting us down, and I cited to them that we have presented to council, we've sought input from staff, obtained an agreement from the county for an MRA regarding the wastewater treatment plant, had several meetings with Mr. Emerson, Mr. Pomponi, Mr. Trotter, David Johnson, Allison Newton, the mayor, and many councillors. We've had meetings with Marcus Davison regularly, providing update reports and seeking his guidance and input. The Brant County staff is well aware of the process and the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that we have invested to complete all of the requirements. And finally, that this report to prioritize development application would have been under development for some time. And surely someone who would have warned us if there was a new policy that would stop us from achieving our goal and wasting a lot of time and money. After viewing the meeting for myself on YouTube, I was concerned and conflicted. Since Creekside Village was specifically named in the PAC, I felt it necessary to speak tonight to determine greater clarity of what the county is doing and to express concern over the interpretations of the provincial growth plan policy. This has been a long process, complicated by many environmental and leading-edge technologies that will ensure that Creekside Village is a showcase to be proud of. We continue to do our homework to ensure that everything properly integrates and we achieve the desired results with no missteps. In fact, we are one of 3 developments in North America that will be featured on NGH-TV's series called First to the Future. NGH-TV's focus is on energy and water conservation along with the environment. And Paul Barnett, who is the owner and executive producer, is arranging interviews over the next few months, including Mayor Eddy, Mr. Emerson, MPP Levac, Professor Jennifer Drake of the University of Toronto, Chief Stacey Laforum, among others. On September 2nd, Creekside Village erected a sign on the property, and our first public meeting is scheduled for October 18th at the Burford Legion, starting at 6:30. We have received many inquiries and over 80 people on a waiting list. We will not sell units until they are approved. Almost all of these 80 units are local, Brant County, Brantford area. We have not tried to advertise. We're not discussing sales at all. I have met several people who are happy to see the Creekside Village is moving forward, as they thought that it had been stopped by the county or we were discouraged by the process. That is not the case. I always advise them that the process is on us because we have not finished our studies yet. In fact, I was concerned about it, and I talked to Betty, and we had that put in the newspaper that this process has not formally come to Brant County yet, because I didn't want misinformation or misconceptions out there as to the reasons for the delay. Several businesses advised me that without growth, they will cease to exist, and many are just hanging on. Provincial policy calls for complete communities. Burford, as it is today, is a complete community, and Creekside Village will help to ensure the sustainability of the existing Burford community. Creekside Village is a $70 to $80 million project with $14 million in annual economic stimulus for the surrounding communities. Now back to why we're here today. We have attended meetings on the growth plan and found them to be very informative and comforting. My interpretations of these presentations are that the province was providing guidelines, that they were not dictating to the municipalities, that the municipality will still direct development and work towards provincial guidelines, and that the municipality will have the opportunity to request a reduction of numbers or address specific concerns. I want to get, for time, into a slideshow, and I just want to point out a few words that are contained in a presentation that was put on by the province. This is the Ontario plan, the purpose, and if you start looking at the meaning, the next municipal comprehensive review, all municipalities will seek may seek alternatives. Municipalities need to direct more growth, phased-in approach, majority of forecasted growth to specific settlement areas, limiting growth in settlement areas. Municipalities will assess how growth is directed to settlement areas. Municipalities can request alternatives. Municipal comprehensive reviews to accommodate growth from 2031 onwards. Municipalities can apply for alternative targets. This will require that municipalities increase the planned density. Again, it goes through comprehensive reviews. It says what it is. Maintain policies for settlement boundaries expanding largely as proposed. It mentions a new standard land needs methodology that they will be putting forward by the end of 2017. It again goes on to the municipal comprehensive reviews, and this is a constant theme throughout all the presentations and the documents that I have been exposed to. Further, on September 11th, Denise, my wife, attended the Brantford public meeting hosted by Mr. Alan Waterford, a senior policy planner in Brantford. He advised that the current Brantford policies are still in place for several years when dealing with current and near future development applications. He advised there will be no change in Brantford before 2022, so current official plan remains in place and current lands to be used. That the province is encouraging municipalities to partner with developers to provide infrastructures because the province will not have funding to support this. That Brantford is confident they will maintain control of its own policies and identity going forward. And when asked when the province will determine the areas to be developed, Alan responded, "They won't. Those are council decisions." I wanted to convey my interpretation of this new provincial policy as it appears to be out of step with what was provided to PAC on September 5th. I was so concerned that maybe I was mistaken that I contacted Fred Decatur from the Brantford Home Builders Association, who provided the slides that we just looked at. And that's just a snapshot of the slides. There's a lot more to it. My concerns are this strategy has significant implications for all unserviced areas. This policy should be subjected to input from all stakeholders prior to being implemented, not after the fact. That there are differing interpretations of the provincial policy that was used to secure recommendations from PAC for a vote tonight by Council. The wording used at the PAC requires clarity as to what the real meaning is when referring to surplus lands and specifics how this applies to settlement areas. This new policy should have provisions for Council to have input and provide direction. In fairness, that could already exist, but not that I have seen. Most important, and we didn't see this until Saturday night, the minutes showed that the motion includes a clause that states that applications submitted in areas that would be considered for future development not be processed by staff. My request is the council take more time to review the new Brant County policy to ensure it is consistent and in step with the intent of the new provincial policy and the interpretation that has been represented to council are accurate. The council, and that the council wait and receive the benefit of the new provincial standard lands needs methodology that will be issued by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs by the end of 2017, where the province will provide clarity in their document, and that consultation take place prior to the policy being implemented rather than after. I don't believe that anyone wants to see the County of Brant disadvantaged when compared to other municipalities. Any new policy should benefit Brantford as a whole. I completely understand that the majority of development must be directed at serviced areas, and that should continue. The provincial policy seems well-written to achieve this with ample input from municipalities through consultation with all stakeholders during comprehensive municipal reviews. But nowhere in any of the documents I have seen that the province is going to take control from the municipalities, dictate to the municipalities, or prohibit development within settlement areas, nor is there any indication that they intend to alter existing living documents to the disadvantage of residents and businesses. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your presentation, the information you're submitting to council. Questions by members of council this time regarding this matter? Any questions? Councillor Carley, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I got a copy of the City of Brantford's report, and the Brantford Municipal Comprehensive Review and Report will not be complete until late summer 2019, and the earliest must be approved by council before being forwarded to the province. Any negotiations or even straight acceptance of the proposed targets will require additional 2 to 3 year administration. There is no change in Brantford before 2022. The current official plan remains in place. So I look at that, and then I go back and read what we have heard, and I'm seeing a bit of a foggy area here, or a gray area, because the city's saying one thing about what the report says, and we're saying something totally different about what the report says. And what I'm hearing and what I'm reading in the report information that came out from Ontario, the province, they're not mandating it. Am I correct in saying that, sir? And from what your understanding is, it's not a mandate from the province?
My understanding from the 3 different meetings that I've been at in different areas, including the Brantford Home Builders Association, was that they are providing the guidelines and the numbers to achieve, and they provide the logic why they need to be where they're going to be in the future. They need tax dollars, they need revenues, and they're putting that forward. And it's still up to the municipality to direct the development within the municipality. It's not up to the province to dictate to them where this is going. In fact, my concern was that it seemed like surplus lands was interchanged with lands that were being talked about in the settlement area, so that created some confusion with myself as well. But they've even gone as far on some of the slides as to put in, we understand that the municipality has to govern, and even within greenbelt areas, they've provided the opportunity to expand settlement areas based on municipal recommendations on specific criteria. They put limits on it, but surely they're not attacking the lands that exist within the settlement areas if they're providing for future growth or expanding of boundaries within greenfield areas or within greenbelt areas. So I believe that my understanding is they don't want to disrupt what's happening. They're saying that the next municipal comprehensive review, that's when the numbers will be put in place, and that they want to see targets achieved moving forward from 2031, or between the end of your next municipal review and 2031. And at 2031, they're going to start requesting more numbers, higher densities and more employment and with in line. But I left every one of those meetings feeling good about what I heard and not concerned. It was like, hey, this is a good news story. I understand where you're going. You're giving everybody ample time to get there. And that's been my interpretations of all the meetings that I've been at.
Councillor Balma, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you. So you have an application on file?
At this time, I don't believe we do.
Okay.
At this point in time, we have the agreement for the management responsibility agreement when we get to that stage for the wastewater treatment plant on ours. Because of a number of the environmental things that we were putting together on ours, we've had to overcome a whole lot of education process. We've had some other challenges with the provincial government in getting to where we're at today, and we're basically here. We have one more report that hopefully the engineers will have for us. We were promised it a while ago, but it's coming. Mm-hmm. When that happens, we should be in a position to have a completed application that will be forwarded to Brant County.
Very good. And so, if I may then, I don't see that as the problem. The problem is we're speculating over what the province will do. And the province may, since we are, as the mayor is fond of saying, we are creatures of the province. And so they may say there will be no development in unserviced lands. And then it doesn't matter what the city says or what we say or what you say. That becomes the reality. And so I'm struggling here to because I agree with you, and that's common sense, but that doesn't necessarily mean that is what will come down from the province, that everything that's existing and moving forward continues to move forward, because you can also interpret it to say that no, this is what will happen on such and such a date, and then that may work against you, regardless of where we are in this process. And even if you have an application filed, we don't know that until that actually comes. And I suppose that's one of the risks that we take. So I hope you are correct, but I don't feel that certainty in coming from what's actually been coming out. So thank you.
May I respond? I completely agree with what you're saying, that it will be up to them. I've been assured that they're looking at the end of your next comprehensive review before they're going to have before they're going to start requiring more stringent requirements that are on there. I am not an expert on this. Right up front, I can just advise that the feeling that I've had from the people that we've spoken and interacted with on this.
While I agree that we are creatures of the province, I don't think we should operate on the basis that we can predict what the government, the provincial government, or any future provincial government may do. I think we've all seen major reversals, changes, etc., in thinking, new thinking as we go along. Are there any other questions by members of council regarding this matter? I thank you for bringing forward the information that's so important to this council. And the matter will be discussed later under the Planning Advisory Committee report, because there is a recommendation. The third and next presentation is Dan Dignard regarding the same matter. Welcome, Dan. Please proceed when you're ready.
I'm very sorry I don't have a handout for everyone, but if you'll bear with me. Mr. Mayor and our trusted councillors, it is with great respect that I come before you this evening. I have recently made myself aware of the efforts of the Planning Advisory Committee in readiness for the forthcoming provincial guidelines regarding places to grow, Growth Plan 2017. There was a YouTube session from the September the 5th, 2017, and a subsequent document, PA 17-43. I was reminded in that whole process of of the appearances of a somewhat healthy family here in Brant County, and that was on the surface. Growth is being directed to Paris, St. George, and Mount Pleasant, where there is existing infrastructure, water, sewers, and surplus lands. All of the elements for future growth. An outsider would say, this is a healthy family, and a family that's being well nurtured. I'm from Burford. Burford Township is not a political area any longer, but a lot of people are very familiar with it. It comprises approximately 50% of the landmass of the county. This well-known area has not received any airtime in the proceedings that I listened to with regard to the Planning Advisory Committee. Burford has essentially been on life support since amalgamation. You see, Burford lacks the essentials, water and sewer, to step up to its eastern siblings. Burford is getting old, and parts seem to be falling off or falling away. The residents are aging. Businesses have closed, and others are hurting deeply. Business people are fighting for their financial lives. Homes are at a premium at Burford due to the low availability of homes for sale. And the lack of affordable housing causes those who have grown up in our particular area, and this isn't any different than a lot of other locations. However, our kids are having to move out to other centers where they can get affordable housing. Some people are not bothered in the least with the demise of Burford, and the sooner we get there, the better. Burford is suffering from two things: a lack of interest and opportunity to grow and regenerate. These two are death knells for Burford. The town that we have loved, the the township that we have loved, will go by the wayside. We will just be a bedroom community. There are lots of concerned people in the Burford area anxious to help and to know what issues are affecting their futures. They know there are surplus lands in the settlement area and the benefits of having growth, and they want to put a stop to the hemorrhaging of people and resources. Burford people would love to be consulted by you, the council, I call you the Council of Doctors, if you will, as to how you can help to revitalize and save our once vibrant community. We suspect Burford needs a transfusion of some new blood to start the healing process. We need consultation, as the province has recommended, to be done prior to any decisions being taken by council. Please do not put us further back in the burner, especially to the area of 2041, for we need action now. Please do not pull the plug on us. Do not let Burford become just a footnote in the history of Brant County of what was or what could have been. It is up to you, the council, and you alone, to help us all be part of the family. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Other questions, Mr. Dignan, by members of council? Anybody? No? Thank you for your presentation, as I said. That concludes the delegations, and we will now decide how we will deal with requests and presentations of the delegations. Number one is the St. Joseph's Life Care Foundation. Councillor Wheat.
Receive this information and refer to budget.
Referred to budget. Is there a second? Councillor Bauma, thank you. Discussion on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Number two, Jim Brown, staging of development strategy. Can this, I was going to say referred to the community service, sorry, planning advisory. Councillor Chambers, please.
Yes, no doubt that some of the points will be discussed when that part comes up, but my resolution is that we receive the presentation as information to submit their application